So I want to talk a little bit about numbers, because numbers and the ability to measure the unmeasurable is one of the recurrent themes, both in this podcast and in Truth Sphere. I believe it was Albert Einstein who said, not everything that counts can be counted, and not everything that can be counted counts. This was and is a theme of a book that was just been written by John Doerr. John Doerr is a partner at Kleiner Perkins, early investor in Google, Amazon, Intuit. I don't know, I can't remember all the companies that he's invested in, but he's established himself as probably the preeminent venture capital investor of our time. And the title of the book he's just written is called Measure What Matters. In it, he describes situations in his career where he went out and convinced the companies that he invested in to institute something called OKRs. OKRs, it's kind of an engineering type encapsulation of this concept of trying to measure what's most important. OKRs are objectives and key results. He did it at Google. He did it with Bono and in many other companies that he's involved with. And the concept is very simple. You need to set out objectives for your company, and they need to be quantified. This is one of the dominant trends of modern society. Trying to assemble data to provide guideposts as to how well you're doing against some objective standard that you have set up. One of the things that John Doerr doesn't really get into in his book very much, but something that's been on my mind quite deeply, is how we try and get a handle on the things in our life that really matter the most. We tend to measure success in financial terms, but if you turn to any of the great philosophers, success really doesn't have a lot to do with your bank account or your net worth. It has to do with intangibles. How much you smiled. How much light you brought into others' lives. The strength of your vision, your hope, your courage. How do we measure these things? A couple days ago, when I was walking down this beach, I had an epiphany. I just read about the death of Burt Reynolds. Could have been anybody. And whenever somebody dies, particularly a celebrity, all kinds of people come forward and offer eulogies. Happened with John McCain. And the eulogies stand for a few days, and then they fade into the mist. And I started thinking, what happens when we die? Sometimes when somebody does something nice for me, maybe they hold the door, they'll let me go ahead of them in the supermarket line. Partly in jest, I say, you know, you get bonus points for that. And if they look at me, I say, yeah, you know, when you get up to the pearly gates, they total everything up. And this particular act of kindness may be just enough to get you in. And I started thinking, what if we had life scores? Not something during our lives, but when somebody dies. People who knew that person, maybe personally, or they knew them through business or through their creative works or through their roles that they played. What if all these people were invited to provide a measurement of just how big this person was in life? You know, you never know. And wouldn't it be cool if we had an open and active debate as to what the principles are, what the qualities are that makes someone bigger, that would give them a higher life score than someone else? Is it integrity? Is it their truthfulness? Is it the love that they spread? Is it the tranquility of their life? Is it how much money they gave to charity? Is it how much money they gave to their children? Is it the size of the vision that they left for others? Is it the number of books that they sold, or the number of people who saw their films, or the number of people who loved them? Could we measure this? I don't know. But what I do know is that in today's world, our priorities are getting skewed. And we need incentives for people to strive to be better people. Today, almost all the incentives in our society have to do with a simple measurement. Does this person have sufficient credit standing to get this loan? But what if instead we had a measurement as to how much they spread, how much they inspired young people around them?
All right, hey everybody, I'm going to ask that you hike with me or behind me, all right?
What if we could use our ability to gather data to hold people to a higher standard of accountability? What if during their lifetime they had a truth score or a trust index, and when they died, they knew that they would be evaluated? Heck, we could even have a ranking of the 1,000 greatest people in history. Would it be Gandhi? Would it be George Washington? Would it be Abraham Lincoln? Would it be Mother Teresa? Would it be Burt Reynolds? Would it be John McCain? Where would you fit on that list? And would you like to participate in the process, providing a data point? When I described this to my niece Samantha, she said, "But how would you avoid this being just a huge popularity contest?" I'm not sure that would be so bad, especially if popularity was based upon principles, important principles. But I responded to her and I said, you know, it's more than popularity, it's accuracy. Because in the truth sphere system, you can provide a contextual weighting of inputs. And if someone's inputs have been idiotic, then their input would be weighted less than someone whose input was quite insightful. And when I say idiotic, I'm using it in the technical sense there. People who share false news, fake news, are known in the trade as useful idiots. We can determine just how close to reality individual people are in their assessments of other people. It's something that's been done successfully. It's been done by one of my Harvard Business School classmates, Ray Dalio, and I will explain that in greater detail in one of my subsequent videos. But for the moment, let's just kind of chew on this idea. Life's course. How might it change the way you live your life if you knew you were going to have a score at the end of it, and that score was going to be based upon principles that we as a society have agreed are what really matters in life?